Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Indiginerd Project. A quick rundown of today's episode, a few thoughts on the Boston Marathon bombings, a teaser trailer's out for the new Hunger Games movie, talk about that, my perspective on the NBA playoffs as a fan of the Milwaukee Bucks who will be facing the Miami Heat in the first round. Finally, I talk about a high school senior who's protesting a lack of sex education, or rather, an abstinence sex education programming at her high school. Regarding the Boston Marathon bombings, as you know, it's well documented in these video blogs that I tend to avoid activities that may result in my injury or death. That does not apply to this situation. The Boston Marathon was a terrorist act meant to intimidate and scare us. That's simply not a time to avoid and be afraid. It's time to stand up for who we are and the values we espouse, whatever they may be. So if the terrorists threaten to take away our freedom to go scuba diving, I will go scuba diving. But in the meantime, there's no way in hell I'm going to go scuba diving. Do you know how many different ways there are to die scuba diving? I've seen open waters. That's just one of the many ways. Screw that. So please, terrorists, do not threaten scuba diving. Also, running marathons is bad for your back and your knees. I could walk really far for a long period of time. I definitely recommend catching the clip of the Boston Bruins hockey game in which the crowd sang the national anthem. It's incredibly powerful and stirring, and a big F you to the terrorists. Oh my Lanta! The new trailer's out for the Hunger Games Catching Fire, and I am now officially counting down to November 22nd. That's got to be like 7 months away. Wow, I'm good. First of all, let me make it clear that the Hunger Games is not another version of Twilight. I mean, yeah, there's a contrived love triangle in the Hunger Games, and certainly my inner preteen girl is all a quiver about that, but there's so much more going on here, as you can see from the trailer. One thing I didn't realize until I watched the trailer is that Phillip Seymour Hoffman is in this puppy. He plays alongside Donald Sutherland. So we got Donald Sutherland, Phil Seymour Hoffman, doing the evil think tank thing to overcome Katniss Everdeen. For me, it's all about the villain. The hero in these action movies is usually vanilla and plain Jane and kind of boring. Yes, we know, Iron Man is a notable exception to this rule. If you haven't read the books, they are real and they are spectacular. On a side note, I do think American Idol could use a little Caesar Flickerman to improve their ratings. I understand they're down a little bit this year. That guy knows how to host reality TV. He can rock a fake tan like nobody else, and he can really coalesce the enthusiasm of the idiot masses. Maybe American Idol could take a tip from Hunger Games, and when the contestants get eliminated, they actually get eliminated. At the very least, they could hire Ursula the Witch to take away their voice. My Milwaukee Bucks will be opening up the NBA playoffs against the Miami Heat, and in the words of Randy Jackson, they are in it to win it. They're gonna shock the world if they play naked or something. That's pretty much the only way that's gonna happen. I hope they win the Miss Congeniality Award, but if I was in Vegas, I would consider throwing down some money because the odds gotta be tremendous. It's like playing the lottery. You're probably not gonna win, but if you do win, look out! And I don't mean the lottery that the Bucks are not in because they made the playoffs. I mean the lottery where the scratch off lottery. I am concerned that the Milwaukee Bucks are contributing to my low self-esteem. I feel like a codependent. Yes, it's nice to root for the underdog, but not when they get pounded into submission, which I'm fully expecting will happen. For you non-Milwaukee Bucks fans out here, here's a little trivia question for you. Name a player on the Milwaukee Bucks. Take your time. Any minute now. Go ahead and bang it if you gotta. If you'd like to learn more about the Milwaukee Bucks, I recommend brewhoop.com. Awesome fan site. The game commentary threads are thoroughly enjoyable. The Bucks have a knowledgeable, if somewhat masochistic fan base. And finally, this interesting story of a student in Charleston. The student body vice president spoke out against a speaker coming to the school to speak about abstinence. The principal of the school called her into his office and scolded her and threatened to contact the college that she'll be matriculating to in the fall, Wellesley College, and tell them that she's a person of bad moral character. Wow, did this principal go to the Dolores Umbridge School of Douchebag Principals? That's the beauty of the Harry Potter movies. That stuff actually happens, and kids can read those books and go, oh, my principal, or whoever, is a real jerk, and we should cast spells on them. Sexual suppression in today's society. Pretty amazing, pretty ridiculous. I'm a nerd. I grew up playing Dungeons and Dragons and reading sci-fi and fantasy books. I didn't need any help with abstinence training or coaching. However, I was raised Catholic, so I know it's important to be ashamed and embarrassed of my dirty parts. So the cool thing is this student, Campbell, was actually able to go online and post about this. She was interviewed, I believe, by CNN. So as she emerged from her little crazy universe that is her high school into the real world, she gets a lot of support. Wesley College posted on, hey, can't wait to have you on campus in the fall. You're a great role model. You're just the kind of student that we're looking for here. It's that kind of reaffirmation that you really want to have high school students get as they move on into the real world. The speaker that they brought in, her name is Pam Stenzel. I haven't watched any of her promotional clips on YouTube because I just ate. One of the things she said, she's against sex outside the marriage. She's probably also against gay marriage. So if you're gay, you can never have sex. But don't worry, she's got an online store with all kinds of DVDs and books, and maybe she could refer you to a DVD that will help turn you straight. Way to cash in on that conservative abstinence movement, lady. I noticed in some of her pictures she's wearing makeup. I think that sends kind of a mixed message. As you may have noticed in one of my previous vlogs, I do in fact have a daughter, and I don't want any of these backwards misinformation hacks anywhere near my kid. So bravo, Caitlin Campbell, for standing up for your fellow students. And that wraps up this episode of the Indiginerd Project. Have a good morning, everybody. Thank you.